And they're so frustrated. And then what
Right.
happens is there's something wrong with me. I must be stupid. I'm a bad person. Why is it working for everyone else, but it's not working for me?
Yeah.
And it has, but it's not, it doesn't have anything to, well, in a way, it does have something to do with them, but they're not bad people. And it's not that they're not working hard enough. It's just that there's something in them that will not let them do what they need to do to make what they want to happen a reality.
This is the Wealthy Contractor Podcast, brought to you by G4 Marketing. Interviews with today's top home improvement entrepreneurs about marketing, sales, money, mindset, and lifestyle. Now, here's your host, Brian Kaskavalcian.
All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of the Wealthy Contractor Podcast. This is Brian Kaskavalcian with G4 Marketing Group. And today I have somebody special. Her name is Sydney Barrows. And I have known Sydney for many years. She helped me, well, continues to, a lot. A few years back, she works one-on-one with me and Addie in helping us get through the shit that holds us back from getting where we want to go. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Sydney?
Yeah. Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Actually, it's not getting through it. It's getting rid of it.
Getting rid of it. Even better. Getting
much better.
rid of it. Because as we all know, we have stuff that we may or may not be aware of that is keeping us from getting where we want to go. And Sydney today has devoted her life to helping people get rid of that junk that is holding them back. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. So
I call it helping my clients have a better experience of their life. Whether that means making more money so they can have a better experience of their life, or any number of things, any goals that they have, and for some reason they just can't make them happen. It's because there's stuff in the way. And like you said, a lot of times, in fact, most of the time, they don't even know what it is.
Right. So cool. So, okay. And so we cannot start a conversation with Sydney without also talking about her past life. She is maybe the most famous or infamous person we've ever had on the podcast. Do you want to just give them a little bit about your past life? There's a lot to learn, by the way, but do you want to tell us a little bit about that portion of your past life?
Sure. It's a long story how I got into it, and but suffice it to say that I ended up answering the phones for I was on unemployment. Of course, there was no money in it, and a girlfriend of mine, I walked into her apartment, and there she was unpacking a brand new stereo, and I knew she didn't have any money because she was on unemployment too. And so I said, "Okay," and she wouldn't tell me how she got it. And I said, "Well, did it fall off the back of a truck or what? I mean, can I get one too? This is New York City after all." And eventually she said, "Do you swear you won't tell anyone?" And I said, "I swear." And she said, "I answer the phones for an escort service." And I said, "Oh, what's an escort service?" Because I didn't have a clue. Anyway, long story short, she was working the phones at an escort service. Eventually she got me a job working the phones at an escort service. And then because this person had no idea how to run a business, we decided to go off on our own, and we ran it like a real business. And so we were very, very successful. Of course, all good things come to an end. New York's finest, that's what we call our police department, decided that it would be a lot more fun to run after cowgirls than it was to run after all of the drug dealers that were, because there was a big crack epidemic at the time. But that was dangerous. I mean, much more fun to go running after pretty girls. And so they busted us, and it became this huge story. And so because the the legal fees, I mean, I did no time. I paid a $5,000 fine. And but I had to pay the attorneys over $250,000 for this. Yeah, no, they were worth every penny. And so I ended up writing a book called Mayflower Madam. And yep, there you go.
I love it. The Secret Life of Sydney Biddle Barrows.
Yeah.
The Mayflower Madam.
Anyway, it turns out, so when we asked people, I wrote it with a guy named Bill Novak, because, I can write, but, he did the Iacocca book and the Nancy Reagan book and the Nancy Johnson book, blah, blah, blah. So we asked people, what is it you want to hear about? And we thought they wanted call girl stories. No. They said, tell us how it worked. What they wanted to know was how the business was run, because nobody knew that. I mean, you could get call girl stories, but no one knew how the business was run. So it ended up being, in a way, a business book. And Fortune magazine named it one of the 10 best business books of the year. All kinds of MBA programs and colleges, including Harvard, used it on the reading list for different classes that they were running. And it was just a huge hit.
Well, and I that's what I was looking for those of you that are watching the video. I knew I had the book. I had to go looking for it after I met.
You get a hard copy.
It's a hard copy. Of course, it's a hard copy.
Yeah.
I got a good one. The book is out of print, but you might still be able to get a, what'd you say?
Previously enjoyed copy,
like mine, although I won't give it up because my books are my friends. And so they hang out with me, but it's a great book. It's we talk about you're the Mayflower Madam, or you were the Mayflower Madam, but you wrote a business book. And then when I first met Sydney, it was because of Dan Kennedy, because Dan and Sydney wrote a book. Again, I have to go back.
Actually, I wrote the book.
You wrote, well, yeah.
He wrote a couple chapters, but I wrote the book. It was the worst experience of my entire life. I remember sitting on the end of my bed crying. It was so hard. Oh yeah, there you go.
There you go. So, that's right. It's with Dan Kennedy. Yes. So he contributed a little bit. But this is also, by the way, for anybody, look, all of our clients, it's all about process. It's all about, customer experience. And a lot of what I've learned about customer experience is a lot from people like Sydney. Because one of the things she did in another past life, was she worked with companies, right, to help them install, I think particularly in the area of sales, right? Help them create processes around selling.
Yeah, in a way. I mostly, to be honest with you, worked on the customer experience.
The customer
client, patient experience, which does have a lot to do with sales. Because if you don't have, for instance, if you have, I had a client that Dan actually got for me, and he was a doctor, and he had one of those Medi spas, and some of the prices were just astronomical. But I went in there, and they had a terrible money room. I called it a money room. I think I made that. I'm the one who made that up. But it's the room where you go in and they tell you about the money, and you can't be charging people thousands of dollars if your money room looks like shit. I mean, it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
So that was part of the experience that, I go to people's offices or places of business and look around and make sure that the image that they're trying to project is reflected in not only what they do, but where they do it. That's really important. The surroundings are really, even the bathrooms are important.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, great book. I like this chapter 12. Are you an amateur or a pro? Unfortunately, a lot of people are amateurs, and that's why they can't get the prices that they need to get in order to make the money they need to make or want to make. Make a satisfaction, make them so happy they're eager to come back for more. I mean, this is just a fantastic
and just so you know, as I was telling Brian before, I've got a brand new website, And but I haven't gotten the sales page up yet for this book. So
For this one?
yeah, for that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't gotten to that yet.
You don't want them to get it from Amazon?
If they want to pay a few $100s, they're more than welcome to. That's how much it's going for. Look it up. It's unbelievable.
Really?
Yes.
Worth
I
every
couldn't
penny.
believe it.
Worth every penny.
No previously owned enjoyed copies, or at least the last time I looked, there weren't any previously enjoyed copies
Yeah. Cool.
available.
So what's interesting, so that's probably what led you into this, because when you go do consulting work for people, and you make recommendations, especially when talking about money,
About anything.
but
And then they think you're brilliant. They think you walk on water. Everything you told them is better than any sliced bread they could even ever have dreamed of. And what happens? They do nothing.
They do nothing.
Do you have that problem in your business too?
No, because I won't do consulting anymore because of it.
Well, what do you do about your clients who participate in your programs and sort of don't do anything, or do you figure that's their issue?
Well, we have, we've learned over the years that we have to be very involved in that process, and we have to make it very easy. So in our business, it's all done for you. So basically all they need to do is give us access to their CRM, and we go in and we get the information that we need so that we can execute on what we need to do for them.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I did consulting for I think it was about a year and a half or 2 years, and I was miserable because of that.
Yeah. Yeah. They love it, but because people hate change. And that's one of the toughest things. They don't like change. But if you go and you do it for them, although they still have to change if all of a sudden the clients start coming in and, they aren't prepared for it.
Yeah. And that's why, with money and with it's always interesting, like with consulting work and change and listening to stuff like this podcast, and saying, oh yeah, that's a great idea. I wish I could do that in my business, or I want to go do that in the business. And then for whatever reason, it doesn't happen. And a lot of the times it's not for any reason that you may consciously be aware of.
Exactly right.
And I go back to money. So that was the thing that you and I worked on.
Yeah. Remember what the first thing you said to me? I think I have an income ceiling. Now I'm not going to tell your story. I'm not going to give out any numbers, but you can do it yourself. No matter what I do, I can't make over X. And I know I can do it, and I know my business can do it, and yet it's just not happening.
Right.
And that was, yeah.
Well, and what happened was, and I tell this story now, is I wanted to make my target number was about almost 4 times where I was. And I knew there was things standing in the way, and I was working on it myself. And then when I found out about what you do, then I started to work with you, and all of a sudden, things started to unlock. It took about, so with you, I think we tripled.
Well, let's see, the first year, you did a third more. We started in August of 2015. And I think we did a third more than you had before. But by 2016, you surpassed the 4 times as much as you've been making. I'm so proud of you, Brian, that I have it all written down here.
Yeah.
So when clients call me want to do business, I have a client who did.
Yeah. But it was but it takes work. It takes not only, like, I was doing actual work here on myself consciously, but with you, what we were working on was the subconscious stuff. And so let's first talk about, what are some of the issues? What are some of the challenges that people have? What holds them back from making the kind of, let's just talk about money, making the
Sure, that's
kind of
what we're
money
here
that
for.
they want to make. That's a simple one. Let's just talk about, make this whole thing about money.
Right. Well, the thing is, of course, everybody is very personal, but a lot of it has to do with things they learned when they were children. People like us don't live in places like that. Other people have advantages that you don't. That's why they make all this money and you never will. So there's a lot of that going on. Also, you'd be shocked at how many people, women especially, have a real block about making more money than their father did, because there's something inside that there's subconscious that says, my father might be insulted, or he might feel bad. How could I do that to him? You've got some things like that. Then you've got things that someone might have said that you don't even remember they said. It might have been one thing, and it could have easily been misinterpreted. Like, oh, she'll never go anywhere. And that gets in their subconscious mind, and they don't even know it's there. So there are all kinds of things like that. A lot of people, if I go and I make this much money, I won't know who I am anymore. My parents will think that I'm getting above myself. They might, when they see me spending all this money, taking all these chances, they'll be afraid for me. So all kinds of parent things. A lot of times.
So sorry to interrupt you, but last week we were with my parents for a couple of days, and my dad is 92. My mom is 78. And I had a lot of mommy daddy issues, a lot that you and I talked about and you helped me deal with. But even now, even today, some of that stuff, I hear it. Like for them, a big one was, well, rich people, that's them. We're different. There's us, and then there's them. And my mother even said something at some point about rich people. Rich people aren't, I don't know, whatever it was, something negative. And both me and Addie were like, no, wait a minute. What you're saying is not right. But I grew up with that, right? And I was impressionable, as we all are when we're kids, right? And so you carry that stuff with you for the rest of your life until you decide to do something about it.
Because you don't want to be the kind of person that you were always hearing they were bad people.
Right. Or bad in your parents' eyes.
Yeah.
Right. That now all of a sudden, because you have money.
Now you're them.
Right. Now you're them.
And then they won't love me anymore.
Exactly. You said that, by the way, you were the first person to say that to me, because I've done therapy before, but she's a no nonsense New Yorker, by the way. So when you ever talk to Sydney, if you ever get the chance and opportunity to work with Sydney and talk with Sydney, you will quickly see she is no nonsense New Yorker. You were the one that told me that. Well, they won't love you. You're afraid they won't love you anymore. I'm like, oh shit, nobody's ever said that to me before.
But you have to remember, Brian, that I know we weren't going to talk about exactly how this is done.
Yeah.
But let's just say that having done this for as long as I have, I get these intuitive hits, and that was a hit, and it just happened to be right. But I just want to make sure that people know that this is not therapy. When he says we talked about this, it's more that I tell him things and then he'll say, oh yeah, I get, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not, we don't actually talk about stuff. In fact, one of the main rules is you sit there and don't say anything.
Right.
Talk about do it for you.
Right. Let's pause here for a quick break. In today's world, getting a 5-star review on Google from every single one of your customers is critical. This is something that G4 Marketing Group helps hundreds of home improvement and home services companies with every day. So we put together a free 5-star customer experience checklist to help you ensure every one of your customers are getting an experience that will turn them into raving fans. You can get your copy of the customer experience checklist today. Just go to g4marketing.com/CEX. The checklist will walk you through 30 points in your customer journey that you can improve today. That way, you'll be able to turn today's customers into tomorrow's leads, sales, and profits. Just go to g4marketing.com GFOUR.com/CEX. That's GFOUR marketing.com/CEX to get your copy of the checklist today. Then, when you're ready to automate your relationship marketing so that your customers grow your business for you, just give G4 Marketing a call at 305-856-8788, and we'll give you a free demo to show you how your future business profits are hiding in today's customers. Now let's get back to the episode. We'll talk a little bit about the process because it's very interesting, but we got to talk a little bit more about we got to talk about what gets in the way and what the results are. Then we can let them in a little bit on the process because, well, we'll save that for later.
Well, I think something's happening today. When I first started out, it was after the 2008 tech crash. And in fact, the person who turned you on to me, who you can say his name if you want to, but I'm not going to. You saw each other at a meeting, and I don't know what it was you were talking about. And he said, "Oh, you wouldn't believe what she's done for me." Well, what happens, and it's going to happen again because of what's just been going on, is when something happens and you lose your business, you lose all your money. I have one guy lost a custom built 5,000 square foot house built on the ocean in California. The guy who you talked to lost $7 million. Just goes to show you should not put all the eggs in one basket, but I'm not. Right. I'm a finance person. But anyway, so when bad things happen to people, and it doesn't even have to be losing the money, the first thing you say to yourself is, "Oh my God, I never want that to happen again." Well, what happens is your subconscious mind hears that and it realizes and knows how upset you are. And so it says, "Not to worry, I got you covered. This will never happen again because I'm not going to let you make any money so that you lose it." And so I'm just waiting for people to start, now that after all of this, stuff that's been going on for the last couple of years, those people are going to start walking in the door.
Yeah. Yeah. It was interesting. So that guy, just as I thought this guy had it all figured out. I'm like, I saw him and we were talking a little bit. And this is a guy I always knew. Oh, this guy, he always had it figured out. And then he tells me, "Yeah, I went bankrupt, but I lost $7 million. And I lost like $1 million something. Right. So I'm like, oh crap, really? I mean, wow, mine hurt a lot, but yours must have hurt like that's real money." And then he said, and then that's when he pointed at you and he said, "Yeah, but she helped me. You got to go do however he said it."
Yeah.
And then we were on the phone like a couple days later.
Yeah. When I got him, he said, "I've just lost in fact, Dan referred him to me."
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he's
Dan and he said, "I've just lost my mojo." He said, that's what it was all about. The shock was so horrible that, "Oh my God, I don't want that ever to happen again." And so his, the mojo got buried by his subconscious mind.
Yeah. So so what happens? So there are certain things that are in us that we don't know about. Do you want to talk a little bit about what some of those things are, the unseen? Because, we talk a lot about, I talk about the subconscious mind a lot and the power of the subconscious mind and how to reprogram it. But there's a lot of stuff that's, in the cobwebs. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
You can't reprogram it if you've got a really serious block. A lot of it is deserving blocks for whatever reason. And it could be a zillion and one reasons. Their subconscious minds don't believe they deserve it. And so if you don't deserve it, then it won't let you go out of your way to make it happen. Some other ones are not being allowed to, and that can be from any number of things. I've had some people from former Soviet bloc, and of course anybody who made money was like looked down on. I mean, that was the worst thing you could do, was make more money than everybody else. So all of a sudden, the wall falls and they come over here and they just can't get over the fact that you're not supposed to make more money than anybody else. So there's that. Not allowed to. There's some what is it called when people have starts with a C? Worst thing about getting old is not the wrinkles. Cultural. There are cultural things that that can get in people's way. Like I said, things that you've heard people say about you. You might have heard someone say, "Oh God, he's just so stupid." There's just no way he's going to make it. And they just remember these things that their subconscious mind does. And then of course, I had a client who her mother died, and she just couldn't get her act back together. It turned out that her subconscious mind was saying, "Well, how can you like be successful and have a great, happy life and everything when your mother's dead?" She was totally not in touch with that at all. But once we got over the guilt, we got rid of the guilt thing, that we were able to make that happen. And then there are also things about people want something, but their subconscious mind maybe isn't ready, or it's not willing to do what you need to do, or it doesn't want it badly enough. Like your conscious mind wants it really badly, but there's something in your subconscious mind that doesn't. And as you know, sometimes you don't even need to know what it is.
Yeah.
You just have to get rid of it.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and I see it a lot in, with clients, and we talk a lot here in the podcast. We talk a lot about money, making more, because contractors, there are too many. I say it all the time. There are too many working too hard for too little. And what I see happen a lot, especially I've been doing this now with contractors, for 12 years, is that their top line grows, but their bottom line doesn't. And they just think that, and I did this too. It's like, well, if I just get the top line bigger and bigger, eventually there's going to be money at the bottom. And I think what a lot of them don't understand is not only is it, we're doing a workshop next month. This might air after that, but basically on the fundamentals of profitability. But I told the guy that is doing that portion of it, I brought somebody to do that portion. I told him, if we don't do the mindset stuff with it, we could give people the fundamentals, everything they need. But if we don't get their heads right, and if we don't try and break through some of those subconscious blocks, none of that stuff is going to mean anything. And I see that over and over and over.
And they're so frustrated. And then what happens is there's something wrong with me. I must be stupid. I'm a bad person. Why is it working for everyone else, but it's not working for me?
Yeah.
And it has, but it's not, it doesn't have anything to, well, in a way it does have something to do with them, but they're not bad people. And it's not that they're not working hard enough. It's just that there's something in them that will not let them do what they need to do to make what they want to happen a reality.
Yeah. And the other side of that, by the way, that I also see is that people they just say, well, next year, this year we did this, but next year, that's when it's really going to start. There's somebody in my private mastermind group, and this is a conversation he's been having for years and years. And since joining our mastermind group, I won't let it go with him. I'm on him all the time. Why don't you give him
my number, Brian?
I know. I'm going to, but it's like he just keeps saying, well, but next year we're going to do this, and next year, yeah, but you've been saying that for 6 years and you're still not making any money. So it's like so it comes off. It could come off as, well, why me? How come I can't do it? But it also could be like, well, look at me, how much I'm doing. Eventually that's going to work itself out. This false confidence.
Yeah. And he's probably saying, why are all these other people in this group and they're doing better than I am? And it makes them feel bad about themselves. And then of course, that's another source.
Right. So I'm looking at the clock here. So we could talk a little bit about the process. By the way, if you're interested in talking with Sydney and learning more, you can go, we'll put it in the show notes, but it's sydneybarrows.com, SydneyBarrows.com, sydneybarrows.com.
And there's a contact thing on there. The opt-in is being worked on, And but you can just email me at sydney@sydneybarrows.com. You don't have to go to the website.
And so basically, you buy a group of sessions, a package of sessions. You just raised your prices, or you raised your prices recently because we just bought another package. And
No.
good
That's
for
not
you.
true. I haven't
No?
I haven't raised them since I think 2017.
No way, really? Oh, I thought that. Anyway, whatever. But it's worth every penny. It's a little
And it's
bit
tax deductible.
It's tax deductible, a little bit of an investment.
And on your Schedule C, it goes under professional services.
Yeah, but aside
And
from
there's a
that,
100% money back guarantee.
right?
After 4 sessions, you don't see a difference, I will give you all your money back, no questions asked. And in all these years, not one single solitary person's ever asked.
Yeah, and Addie just sent you some more money, but let's talk a little bit about the process. So. Basically, the hardest part about working with Sydney is that she does all the work, but you have to be alive for it. You have to be awake. So I'll tell you this much from my experience. So you call Sydney on the phone. She talks to you a little bit, asks you some questions, learns a little bit about what's going on, and then she goes to work. And you're just quiet. You have to acknowledge some stuff. So you have to be awake. It could take an hour to 2 hours per session, right?
And your business stays your business.
What does
right?
that mean? What does that mean?
Well, I mean, it's not like therapy where you go slogging through the mud and the muck as if it weren't that bad.
Oh, right. Yeah, you don't have to explain a whole bunch of
You
stuff.
don't have to explain anything.
Yeah,
Although every once in a while, I'll ask a question, you can say yes or no.
right.
I need to say yes or no.
And what did you tell me the first time you described? I don't know if you still do this, but what was the thing you told the first time when you told me, oh yeah, I do this? What did you say to me?
Oh, the 21st century version of snake oil?
Yeah, it's gonna sound crazy. You said something like that.
Yeah, that's what I say.
Yeah, it's gonna sound crazy, but it works. It works.
Yeah.
And I think, and I think in all seriousness, I did a lot of work, like work every single day on myself, reprogramming, but I also needed this other piece too, because I could work on what I saw. What I couldn't work on was what I couldn't see, the unseen. And that's where Sydney comes in. And so
Brian, you're very unusual because you are very, very driven, but most people don't do the work on themselves.
Yeah, I think you have to do both.
Results.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you have to do both, okay. but look, yeah, I'll do me. And by the way, for those of you that are listening, the big message here is that there are unseen things that are holding you back from getting where you want to go. And just acknowledging that, I think is good. If you want some help, you could reach out to Sydney, and she'll definitely, be able to help you if you're open to it. What about the people? So I would imagine that people that just don't believe you don't give you money. But I would
100% money back guaranteed.
But that doesn't necessarily.
You know what?
Yeah, but that doesn't.
How can I lose?
That doesn't necessarily mean that somebody won't be uncomfortable with.
Oh yeah, that's true.
With it,
because they think to themselves, that's just not who I am.
Right.
I mean, I've had people who have groups like yours, they're coaches, and I've given them free sessions just because I want them to recommend me to their members, and it works. And they say that it works, but they say, I'm just not the kind of person who does this.
Yeah.
So some people have that going on.
Yeah. So you have to be very open-minded. But then again, all personal development, all personal growth is being open-minded. You have to be, because a lot of the stuff does sound a little bit out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So very cool, Sydney. Thank you so much for being here. I hope that this is a different episode for us, but hopefully it goes right in line though with what we talk about here all the time. And I write about it in the 7 Secrets book. You know, secret number 6 is all about taking control of your mind, because that's where it really, I mean, that's where it's all starts and ends. You don't have control of your mind, your thoughts you think, the actions that you take, the beliefs that you hold true. It's going to be very difficult to, you know, create the business and create the life that you want. And
one of the things I'd like to offer your listeners is the way that you can find. First of all, there's 2 ways to find out what's in your subconscious mind. First of all, you look around and you look at things you don't like, and you say, and you realize that there are things going on that I don't like that I'm not doing anything about because there's something going on. However, if you want to know exactly what it is, you can do something called muscle testing, which is how I work with clients. And I would be more than happy to give your listeners, your people, a copy of how to do this so that they can specifically ask about things.
yeah. And that whole muscle test thing is very interesting. I have a book on it here somewhere.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. I've done some of it. Yeah. Did we? No, we didn't do that together.
No.
Because I just dove right in. I didn't need all that. I just was like, all right, Sydney, go do your thing. All right. So everybody, we'll put it in the show notes, but it's sydneybarrows.com, SYDNEY. Barrows, BARROWS. And, you know, this is a great book, Uncensored Sales Strategies. I guess both of these books are, you can get them previously enjoyed. Yeah. But, you know, the thing I really like about you, as opposed to other types of people that do this kind of work, the kind of work that you do, is you don't, and I don't want to insult anybody, but you don't live in la la land. A lot of the people that do the kind of work that, you know, this personal development and coaching and life coaching and all that, they don't have real life experience. They're learning it from a book or something. You're like the real deal, and I've had several businesses. I know.
So when I work with people, you know, that have their own businesses,
I
know what's going on. I can,
and you pull no punches.
But I do it nicely, don't I?
You do it nicely, but you're still, you know, you pull no punch. And you know what? Entrepreneurs appreciate that. They appreciate.
If you're paying me good money, don't you deserve to have the truth?
That's right. That's what I think. All right. So, all right, everybody. So, thank you, Sydney. Appreciate you. And to everybody listening, different episode, but I hope was valuable. Until next time, this is Brian Kaskavalsian with G4 Marketing, and this is the Wealthy Contractor Podcast. Thanks for listening to today's episode of the Wealthy Contractor Podcast. Let me ask you, did it help you look at your business in a different way? Did it spark an idea or ideas that you hadn't thought of before? Do you have a list of action items that you can take and implement into your business or your life today? I really hope so. If it did, I'd like to ask you a favor. Would you leave a 5-star review of the podcast? By doing so, you'll help other contractors find the podcast more easily so that we can help them achieve more success, wealth, and freedom. And before you go, make sure you subscribe to the Wealthy Contractor Podcast so you get access to the latest episodes as soon as they're available. We're always striving to provide you with great content so you don't want to miss what's coming up. In fact, if you haven't already, make sure you go to thewealthycontractor.com and get your free copy of my latest book, The 7 Secrets to Becoming a Wealthy Contractor. Just pay shipping and handling, and I'll take care of the cost of the book. And finally, a big thanks to G4 Marketing for sponsoring the Wealthy Contractor Podcast. For over 12 years now, G4 Marketing has been the secret back office relationship marketing team for hundreds of home improvement and home service businesses just like yours. You get the customer, and our proven system turns that customer into 5-star reviews and profitable repeat and referral business. If your home improvement or home services company completes at least 10 jobs per month, they have a solution that will work for you. To find out more, sign up for your free, no obligation, 10-minute discovery call at www.g4marketing.com/strategy. That's GFOUR marketing.com/strategy. Set your discovery call up today, and they'll help you set your business up for long-term profits and success. So until next time, this is Brian Cascavalcian.